Hi people, welcome to the Run Testers, and in this video we are putting two of On's big stack cushion trailers up against each other. We have got the On Cloudstratus 3 versus the On Cloudeclipse. Now the Cloudeclipse was a new shoe that landed in 2023 with On's new Cloudtec Phase midsole design, while the Cloudstratus 3 here is the follow-up to On's big cushion cruiser. Now these two shoes share the same price tag. They could be used for the same types of everyday training miles as well. So which one's best? Well, we've clocked the miles in both to find out exactly that, and we're here to pick our favourite and to hopefully help you decide which shoe might suit your running best. So watch on for our Cloudstratus 3 versus Cloudeclipse head to head. Some quick details then, starting with the stacks. Well, the Cloudstratus 3 now comes in at 32mm in the heel, 26mm in the forefoot for a 6mm drop. The On Cloudeclipse has a slightly higher midsole volume with 37mm in the heel, 31 in the forefoot, but also for a 6mm drop. Now the Cloudeclipse weighs in at 10.5 ounces or 297 grams in our UK men's 8.5 test shoe. The Cloudstratus 3 comes in an ounce or so heavier than that at 11.3 ounces or 320 grams. Price-wise, both shoes come in at £170 in the UK and $180 in the US. They're both pushing the top price that you would expect to pay for a big stack daily trainer. Now moving on to a quick shoe comparison here then, and these are both big shoes on the maximal side of things. The midsole stacks are where the key difference lies. The Cloudstratus has a double stack of the more regular kind of Helium clouds with a nylon speedboard sandwiched in the middle of that midsole at a pretty substantial rocker up the front. The On Cloudeclipse by contrast has a bigger midsole wedge overall. That's also from Helium foam, but that comes in the Cloudtec Phase setup here. We first saw this in the Cloud Surfer, and the idea is that these cloud elements here collapse in sequence a bit like dominoes and then release as you roll through, and that's supposed to create a smooth transition and add a bit of energy. It also works alongside a speedboard plate that sits right at the bottom of the unit of this midsole here, and you can see it here. That's there to provide some extra stiffness to the foam elements and also to kind of support that sort of substantial rockering that you've got here too. Now up top, the Eclipse has dual layered mesh uppers. The Cloudstratus perforated uppers feel single layered to me, but they're lined and they're a bit more thin and airy than you get on the Eclipse. Both of them though are quite flexible across the top of the toes, so there's a bit of wiggle room there. Now the Stratus's heel collars are really big and plush, much more padded than the medium padding you're going to get on the Eclipse. The Cloudstratus also has these big kind of padded tongues, while the Cloudeclipse goes for the more sort of thinner kind of foot wrapping tongues. The Stratus also has this kind of external heel clip here to add a bit of support. The Eclipse does have an external reinforcement, but it's not quite as hardcore. And when you flip them over, you've got quite a different outsole rubber patterns here. The Cloudstratus has On's kind of familiar rubber patches that hit the cloud elements in the highest impact areas. The Eclipse has these bigger sort of single one-piece sections of rubber with a bit more coverage in the heel, and I think overall. So when it comes to fit then, for the Eclipse things are just about roomy enough. I did have to pay a bit of attention to lacing down tight initially, and I had some slipping in the heel until I sorted that lacing out. Nothing crazy, but a bit more than usual. Overall, I'd say the fit was good, and I would recommend going true to size in the Eclipse. For the Stratus, I also ran true to size in my regular On shoe size, which is UK 8.5. I found these fit pretty well as well. There's good room in the toe box, but again I had to pay attention to how I laced that down to get a good hold across the midfoot. I struggled to get an entirely secure fit in these. I also found that they're not the most secure in the heel, but I think I would still recommend going true to size. I think they'd be too small if I put them down. So a really quick word about fit now that I've got both shoes on my feet, and I would describe the fit here as almost bang on similar. A little bit more room across the top of the toes into the toe box of the On Cloudstratus. Lengthwise they feel pretty much the same. The hold around the heel collars across the midfoot, all of that I'd say feels the same. Maybe the Cloudeclipse just holds ever so slightly better than the On Cloudstratus 3, but overall, yeah, I would still recommend going true to size in both these shoes. Now in testing, I've run more than 50 miles in both shoes. That's on my usual mix of terrain, mostly roads, some light river paths, and at a wide range of paces. Overall for me, the Cloudeclipse ride is smooth, it's energetic, it's a lot of fun for a max stack. It's surprisingly nippy and versatile too, I would say. It's almost got that kind of easy rolling rocket ride of the first gen Monster, and it's definitely an easy shoe that I like to log miles in. It's one of those shoes that I find myself reaching for a wide range of efforts as well. Now, I found the Cloudstratus 2 to be a pretty reliable workhorse, an okay shoe that wasn't particularly remarkable probably a bit behind the kind of current competition on performance and when it comes to price. And after my runs in the Cloudstratus 3, I think my take on it is pretty much still the same deal here. There are improvements here. The midsole ride is noticeably softer and more cushioned underfoot. Those double stacked healing clouds provide good protection on the landings without feeling too soft and sinky. If you've always found On shoes too firm, these have changed that for the better for sure, but without going too far the other way. There is some return and responsiveness here from the shoes, and from that rock ring definitely sort of helps with the clip along overall. I like that there's a touch of firmness and roll, to this sort of Cloudstratus 3, but I'm not sure they're as free-flowing as the Cloudeclipse. I think this one just moves a little bit more swiftly. But to really tease out the differences, I also took these shoes for a side-by-side mile to feel what they're like on the foot, and here's what I found. So I've just done the side-by-side mile. I've got the Eclipse on the left foot, I've got the Stratus 3 on the right foot. Main difference here, I think, is you notice the extra weight in the Cloudstratus, about an ounce heavier. You do notice that sort of feeling overall of a bit more shoe on the foot. It's a bit more kind of bulky, it's a bit more clumpy. The interesting thing is that, according on paper, the On Cloudeclipse has the higher stack compared to the Stratus, but I think the Cloudstratus feels bigger and bulkier. There feels like there's more midsole volume underfoot. Maybe that's a double layer of those clouds that's having that sensation with that kind of dual density sort of foam that it's got there. But the other thing that comes with it is that basically the Cloudeclipse just feels a little bit more agile. It's a bit more kind of nimble. I always use those words when I'm talking about these shoes, but it rolls through off the rocker much quicker and much faster. The Cloudstratus, it just feels a little bit more flat. It's a bit more heavy. It's supposed to be a bit more cushioned, I believe, but I don't think you actually get that very much. It doesn't have big kind of softness that you might expect from like a Nimbus or a 1080 V13. It's just a bit firmer than that. It's a bit more kind of rigidity through it. So when you put that up against the Cloudeclipse, which does have a bit of softness there as well, but also has that kind of rocket rolling clip through with a bit more precision, I think the Cloudeclipse actually is a snappier, faster, more kind of, I don't know, I just think a better shoe overall than the Cloudstratus 3. They can feel a bit kind of heavy, a bit clumpy on the foot. Would I choose the Cloudstratus over some of the other shoes that are out there? I'm not sure. I just don't think it's got the softness to take the edge off in the way that I'd like. If you like something that's a little bit kind of stiffer, a bit firmer in a bigger shoe, then it is protective, and that might be one to go for with the Stratus 3. But for me, based on this run that I've just done now and the way these shoes feel on the foot side by side, the Cloudeclipse is just a bit more capable. There's a lot more versatility. There's a lot more kind of comfort overall on the foot. It feels a bit more natural. I think there's flexibility there in this shoe that you're not going to get from the Cloudstratus. Verdict then, and this one is simple for me. I think the Cloudeclipse is the better shoe here. I think it offers enough cushioning and protection to rival the Stratus 3 at the lower and slower end of things, but it's just snappier, more agile, with a more pronounced rocket ride that helps you clip along more effortlessly. I can't say effortlessly, easily when you push up through the gears too. By comparison, I'd say the Stratus 3 is a touch ponderous, and certainly I think the weight and the bulk makes it less suited to anything particularly strenuous or particularly fast. Now, the only caveat I think here is if you really want more in the heel, where I think despite the lower stack on the Stratus 3, there's more there, and you can sense it when you're running. If you're landing heavier further back the shoe, it's going to give you a bit more, I think. But considering these come in at the same price, I think the Cloudeclipse overall is the more natural, versatile and capable shoe. So there you have it then, that's our head-to-head between the On Cloudeclipse and the On Cloudstratus 3. We hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, hit us up in the comments below. If you've had a chance to run in either or both of these shoes, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on them. Helps other viewers understand how these shoes might work for them as well. So pop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to ring the bell for more great Run Testers videos when they land. If you want a full review of both of these shoes, those videos are going to be appearing on the channel just about now. Otherwise, thank you very much as ever for watching. We hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers, and happy running everyone.